Celebrating Child Care Providers in Memoriam. Delegate Pamela E. Queen, Montgomery County, District 14.
Good evening. I'm Delegate Pam Queen, and I will be your host for the Maryland Women's Caucus, a celebration of child care providers in Memoriam. Child care providers are those special people with big hearts who help shape little minds, who change the world one child at a time. As the Ode to Child Care Providers says, little children come to me for hugs and books and such. I care for all their simple needs, and I also fix them lunch. I pick up toys, I mop their spills, and often dry their tears. I change their diapers, settle fights, and kiss away their tears. I tie their shoes, I button coats, and push them on the swing. I really love those kids, you see, but there is just one thing. Call me mom or aunt or Ann, and those names just might fit. But please don't call me sitter, because I never get to sit. This evening, we honor those special people who always believe in our
Succeed.
Senate President Bill Ferguson, Baltimore City, District 6.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to bring greetings for this important and somber event. I commend the Maryland Women's Caucus on its inaugural tribute to child care providers who are an important part of our workforce. Child care providers are indeed essential to our state, with approximately 79% of Maryland children under the age of 12 years old having parents who work outside the home. Maryland working families rely on available, affordable, and quality child care from providers, most of whom are women. During the COVID-19 pandemic, without these indispensable child care providers to take care of the children of emergency essential workers, our state could not have operated and reopened at any capacity. It would have been impossible. Unfortunately, at risk to their own health, child care providers throughout the state opened their doors to care for Maryland children. So this evening, I join with members of the Maryland Women's Caucus during Women's History Month to honor these exceptional, unselfish early child care providers who passed away from COVID-19. They are Beatriz Cordero Acia from Montgomery County, Kathy R. Evans from Prince George's County, from my own hometown in Baltimore, Crystal Hardy Flowers, and Danitza Simpson from Prince George's County. Let us thank and salute all child care providers who are truly the ones changing the world one child at a time.
House Speaker Adrian Jones, Baltimore County, District 10.
Good evening. Along with my colleagues in the Maryland Women's Caucus, I want to thank the early childhood workforce for your dedicated service to all Maryland children. With a heavy heart, I graciously bring greetings to the family, friends, children, and other loved ones of those child care providers that we lost to COVID-19. You have left an indelible memory which we commemorate this evening. During Women's History Month, it is only fitting to celebrate and honor child care providers who are primarily women. According to Data USA, nationally, 92.4% of all child care workers are female. In Maryland, the early childhood workforce operates public and private child care centers, family home child care, Head Start, and early Head Start programs under the Maryland State Department of Education. Without you, our state cannot operate. Approximately 79% of Maryland children under the age of 12 years old have parents who work outside the home. Working parents in Maryland rely on available, affordable, and quality child care from providers who are primarily women. I know that the Maryland legislature must do more to increase wages, training, financial assistance, and other resources for early child care providers. I support this very important initiative of the Maryland Women's Caucus to make your concerns a priority for the Maryland General Assembly this year and in future years. I honor Maryland early childhood providers who passed away from COVID-19. Join me as I say their names. Beatriz Cordero Acia from Montgomery County, Kathy R. Evans from Prince George's County, Crystal Hardy Flowers from Baltimore City, and Danitza Simpson from Prince George's County. This evening, we celebrate all child care providers, those with big hearts that shape little minds.
COVID-19. Oh, what a year. On March 5th, 2020, when Governor Hogan declared a state of emergency, Maryland, like many states, faced a dilemma. How can essential workers return to work without available childcare? How can child care providers survive with so many parents either not working or working from home? And how would children who rely on child care providers for hugs, cuddles, and kisses for the boo-boos, comprehend this new era of social distancing, wearing masks and PPE. We quickly learned that childcare in the world of COVID-19 is no small matter.
I hear our president talking about reopening the economy. And I wonder who is going to care for the children of the workers, because I don't think a lot of people know how fragile is our situation at this point.
Protocols have totally changed because social distancing with young children is very, very hard.
First of all, in order to open and adhere to the CDC guidelines, we have to have the proper PPE.
We had to get gowns, we had to get masks, we had to get hair covers, shoe covers.
Every 5 to 10, I'm wiping down a chair. I'm wiping down a table. They're washing their hands. I'm Lysoling the bottom of their shoes when they come in.
A classroom that once served 24 children will now only be able to serve 10 children. So what happens to the other 14 kids?
What's going to happen if someone gets sick? You have to shut down for 14 days. So then you start all over again.
We had 72 to 80 employees on staff pre-corona, and right now we've got 20.
I hope to stay in business, but the way childcare is going, who knows? We really don't know at this time.
Children cannot learn optimally unless they feel secure and welcomed and loved. And I want to make sure that we can provide that to them without them feeling that they can't be, hugged if they need their hug.
The right thing to do is to support the industry so they don't have to make a decision that compromises safety.
What I would love for federal and state policymakers to see and know and recognize is that our child care provider workforce is the backbone of the economy in our country.
If there's one thing about people that are in the early childhood education field, it's that they're pretty fearless, and they will do whatever it takes to make sure that child and that family gets what they need. So that part makes me hopeful.
Childcare in Maryland during COVID-19, a year in review.
This evening, we honor those child care providers in Maryland who died from COVID-19. Say her name and solemnly vow never to forget or allow our sisters' lives to be erased. Their presence cannot be replaced. This evening, we will say their names.
Beatrice Cordero Acia. Delegate Leslie J. Lopez, Montgomery County, District 39.
Hello, I'm Delegate Leslie Lopez, here to talk to you about the life of Beatrice Cordera Acia, who was a licensed home daycare provider and beloved community member in Tacoma Park, Montgomery County. She passed away on March 15, 2020, after battling the COVID virus. She is mourned by her husband Ernesto, her children and extended family, and many families and children whose lives she touched, all of whom are stunned with sheer disbelief and nearly unbearable grief. Her professional training focused on early childhood education, so she lived her dream when she established a full-service learning center committed to excellence in Tacoma Park called Infant Garden Bilingual Care. With child care services shut down due to the pandemic, Beatrice applied to care for the young children of essential workers. You see, for Miss Beebe, as she was affectionately known, this was not just a business opportunity. This was her purpose and her ministry. Ask anyone who knew Miss Beebe, and they would describe her as an exceptional humanitarian with a big heart, a passionate advocate for children and families, an effective community leader, a successful, accomplished businesswoman. They'd say she was always willing to help others, immensely generous, humble, thoughtful, full of wonder, kindness, and love. Beatrice leaves a huge space to fill not only in the Tacoma Park community, but especially in our hearts.
Never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine. You always walked one step behind. I was the one with all the glory. You were the one with all the strength. On your face, without a name.
Beatrice Cordero Asia. Kathy R. Evans. Delegate Geraldine Valentino Smith, Prince George's County, District 23A.
Hi, I'm Delegate Geraldine Valentino Smith, a proud member of the Maryland Women's Caucus. And this is the part of the event where we're having a tribute and memorial to the women that have died who are child care providers in our community. As of today, 539,517 people have died from COVID. And in Maryland, 8,184 Marylanders have died. And in Prince George's County, we have the highest number of deaths at 1,373 people dying from COVID. It's really hard for us to continue to understand the magnitude of this problem and to fully appreciate the loss for so many families. Today, I want to tell you about one person who died from COVID in our community in Prince George's County. Catherine Regina Evans, age 66, passed away November 20th, 2020 at the Laurel Regional Medical Center. She was surrounded by her loving family, her husband, Charles, of 47 years, her daughter, Selena, and her son, Derek. She had a large and loving family with 2 grandsons, her brother, Alonzo, and 3 nieces. Wanda, Valentine, Tammy Bridges, and Leslie Daniel. She was a beloved daycare provider in Berwyn Heights for more than 30 years. She had a passion for children and a commitment to caring for each child as if they were her own. She's described in her obituary as thoughtful, patient, kind woman who led life to the fullest. She was deeply loved and will sadly be missed.
It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine, that's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name, voice of home, a beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart.
In Memoriam, Kathy R. Evans. Crystal Hardy Flowers. Delegate Catherine M. Forbes, Baltimore County, District 42A.
I'm Delegate Kathy Forbes, and I want to take a moment to recognize and remember a true hero who sacrificed her life in service to Baltimore's children. Crystal Renee Hardy Flowers served for more than a decade as Executive Director of the Little Flowers Early Childhood and Development Center. When the pandemic hit, she was also one of the first in our state to apply to stay open to care for the children of first responders. Ms. Hardy Flowers died on the last day of 2020 from a COVID-related condition. But it's her amazing life we're celebrating today. The center she ran in the Sandtown-Winchester neighborhood of Baltimore served the neediest of needy, but was always a place of joy. Ms. Hardy Flowers was relentless, she was visionary, and she was effective in her work. As a former social worker, she employed cutting-edge mental health care techniques along with social and emotional interventions. She helped a generation of children, their families, and their communities to develop resilience and to thrive. She led with her heart and she led with love. May her memory and her work live on.
It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine. That's your way. You always walked a step behind. See, I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. Yes, you were only a face without a name. I never once heard you complain. No. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I would like to be. I could fly higher than an eagle. Yeah, yeah. 'Cause you are the wind beneath my wings. Yeah. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but Daddy, I've got it all right here in my heart. Yes, I say, and I know you don't know. I know the truth. I know you know the truth about it. You know the truth now. I would be nothing.
In Memoriam, Crystal Hardy Flowers. Denitza Simpson. Delegate Nicole A. Williams, Prince George's County, District 22.
Hi, everyone. I am Delegate Nicole Williams, representing District 22 from Prince George's County, and I'm here to talk about Ms. Denitza Simpson, who was the director of the Adelphi Langley Park Family Support Center in Prince George's County. Ms. Simpson was the director of the Family Center for 25 years before, unfortunately, we lost her due to COVID-19. Ms. Simpson was a pillar in the Adelphi Langley Park community and helped so many people throughout her career and just in her own personal service. Besides being director of the Family Support Service, she previously served on the Prince George's County Commission for Women, as well as on the planning committee and president of the Action Langley Park and her local PTA. People, when they talk about Ms. Simpson, they talk about how much she just gave back to so many young people and so many families within our community, and how she was just honestly just a ray of sunshine and just an inspiration for so many. And we will truly, truly miss her within our community. And so, we're going to show a couple of pictures and things in her memory, but we just pray and just thank you to her family for sharing her in our lives and in our community.
And an icon in the local Latino community loses her life to the coronavirus. Denitza Simpson was the director of the Prince George's Child Resource Center and a community activist for several decades. The native Panamanian was recently recognized by the Spanish news outlet El Tiempo Latino as one of the area's COVID-19 heroes. Simpson was much beloved and respected by both the community and lawmakers.
When we were at the height of the COVID-19 epidemic in April, I had to start organizing the community to see what we were going to do to respond. And she was, like I said, she was one of the first, she was in the front lines. So she said, and I said to her, hey, can you be one of my food distributors? So all from May to August, her small office took on one of the largest distribution sites in District 2. And she distributed over 1,200 boxes of food a week.
She was an amazing human being, just very loving, very dedicated to her work. She was a director of the Adelphi Langley Park Family Support Center. And she did that work for over 24 years. She will come every year to lobby myself and other legislators in Annapolis on behalf of families and women and children. Just a great human being. It's a great loss for our community.
An awesome young man. To see this from a young teen person today, to use this language to describe what I'm doing. So it just gives me lots and lots of joy. My heart is full.
Sources tell CTV News that Simpson's husband also contracted the virus and that he is currently recovering.
In Memoriam, Denitza Simpson. Dr. Carol Williamson, Deputy Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, Maryland State Department of Education, MSDE.
On behalf of Maryland State Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Karen Salmon, thank you for letting us join the Maryland Women's Caucus as we acknowledge and salute our more than 7,000 child care providers in Maryland. Our child care provider community has been on the front lines of the pandemic since the very start and have been and continue to be a critical part of the state's overall recovery. Over the course of the last year, we have accomplished so much together, and this Friday will mark an historic date for Maryland's child care community. It was 1 year ago that in response to the COVID-19 state of emergency, Dr. Salmon closed all child care programs on the last Friday in March, and then invited them to reopen the next Monday for essential personnel following new health and safety regulations. We had only 2,258 programs open that Monday morning. That was just 1/3 of the child care programs that were licensed to operate in Maryland. And most of those programs were only half full, causing a tremendous strain on our child care providers' ability to make ends meet. Most of these providers are women who run their own small businesses, and many are women of color. It wasn't just an economic toll that challenged these women. It was an emotional and physical strain as well. They put their safety and health, as well as their families, on the line in order to serve our state. Today, we recognize all of our child care providers for their vast contributions. And today, we honor the lives of those lost. Beatrice Cordero Asea in Montgomery County, Kathy Regina Evans and Denitza Simpson in Prince George's County, and Crystal Hardy Flowers in Baltimore City. It's important to remember these women, not as numbers among the now over 500,000 individuals in this country who have fallen in their battle against the virus, but by their names and who they were to their communities and families. Beatrice, Kathy, Denitza, Crystal, and many of those whose names we don't even know were mothers, grandmothers, daughters, sisters, and wives. They leave behind friends, families, and admirers. We who have survived this terrible war owe them for their service and their sacrifice. Our gratitude and appreciation goes out to the families of these courageous women who will always be remembered and cherished for their service to our youngest and most vulnerable. With the vaccine, there is hope on the horizon. All generations will be forever bonded by this circumstance of our times, this pandemic crisis, and it will shape all of our lives. Our children, our future, influenced by the bravery and selflessness of our child care community, will steer and lead the post-pandemic world we share. And our child care providers and their legacy of love will live on.
Thank you. How many ways can we say thank you to our essential childcare workers?
Thank you, Val.
Gracias. We stand together now. Thanks to you, working parents are able to provide the essential services we all need to be safe and healthy. And we just can't thank you enough.
Delegate Carol L. Krim, President of the Maryland Women's Caucus, Frederick County, District 3A.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us this evening as we honored the sacrifice of child care providers who lost their lives to COVID-19 while caring for our children. Their families will receive a $500 donation from the Women's Caucus and a memorial citation that you saw during the program. In case you couldn't read the print on the citation, it reads, "Be it hereby known to all that women legislators of Maryland offer sincerest condolences to the family of Denitza, Crystal, Beatrix, and Kathy." Each had their own citation. And our theme today was, "It takes a big heart to shape little minds." And we learned today earlier during our meeting that 90% of a child's brain is developed before the age of 5. These child care providers are crucial to our children, to our families, to our communities. And we honored 4 tonight, and we saw how loving they are, how the community relied on them. But there are many more of these women in our community. And I can tell everybody who's watching this that child care providers is a priority for the women legislators. This is a bipartisan issue that we are working on, and we know that they're struggling, and we want to be sure that money that is coming from the federal government is funding these child care providers and is spent in a transparent way. So we are working on that. And thank you to Pam Queen, Delegate Pam Queen, who chaired this event this evening, and her staff who worked very hard, and all of the members of the caucus who participated. It was just a wonderful event, and thank you all for being here. Thank you, Chairman Queen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thanks to all the committee members as well. Close out with a thank you tribute. And get to that page.
Down and out, all alone, sitting here, sad and blue. The sun is now going down, kind of cold, seeking refuge. Or just a friendly face, or maybe just a smile. Someone that understands what I'm going through right now. And just before I lay me down to never wake, I look up and I see you. So with everything I am, thank you. Thank you, because you didn't have to. Thank you. Thank you with everything I am. Thank you for the real sacrifice and the truth behind your giving heart, and how you never judge a fault in me. Help because you wanted to. And for your friendly face, and for just your smile. understanding what I'm going through right now. And just before I lay me down to never wake, I look up and I see you. So with everything I am, thank you.
Thank you for joining us this evening as we celebrated Maryland's child care providers. They are our essential workers. May God bless them all, and good night.
That's our program. Thank you all for attending. Good night.
Thank you, Pam. You did a great job. I don't want to say I enjoyed it, but I did enjoy watching how they interacted about the women that we honored, how they interacted with the children. So thank you so much.
Well, thank all of you and thank everyone who provided videos and information about the child care providers. I think this was a good way to highlight the service they provided us, especially during COVID-19. So we appreciate you joining us for this tribute.